when a story gets out, it only gets out for one reason, be it politics, sports, business. It gets out for a reason. Somebody wants it out. Right? There's been a lot of stories that you read a book about later, and you're like, I didn't hear about that, because nobody wanted the story to be leaked. All right? So people can keep secrets, right? We all know you have something in your life that you'll never let out. I've got a couple. Joy's perfect, so she didn't have any. But the point is, we all have secrets we don't let out. So when stuff gets out, somebody wanted it out. Sources in New England saying there's a level of frustration internally with Cam Newton. It has opened the window for Mac Jones. They want that out there. New England wants that out there. You know why New England wants it out there? Because when they move off Cam, hey, we gave him a chance. COVID last year, COVID situation this year. Little protection, little insurance. So when they move off Cam, players in the locker room, players around the league know, well, I mean, 2 different times with COVID. He caught it. Now he's going to miss practice. That gets out because somebody wants it. And by the way, you can blame whoever you want. I'm not into the blame game, but this stuff doesn't happen to Russell Wilson. It doesn't happen to Brady. It doesn't happen to Mahomes. We've all had a friend that struggles to get out of their own way. Sometimes Cam struggles to get out of his own way. And I've been critical of Cam for years. I've said, I like my presidents to be presidential. I like my quarterbacks to be quarterbackial. Grown-ups, adult, focused, self-reliant, self-motivated, coachable. There's certain traits, forget all the athletic stuff. There's just certain traits I'm looking for in my president and my quarterbacks. And sometimes Cam's not always great with those. And that's led to eroding mechanics, lack of efficiency, inconsistent production, week to week, half to half. You don't know what they get. And here's the issue. You know how I do that segment every Monday called Colin Right, Colin Wrong? I think the rightest take I've ever had is that Cam and Russell Westbrook would age poorly and age quickly. Cam is now 32. He feels like he's inches from out of the league. Russell Wilson's 32. And I feel like he just entered his prime. Russell Wilson has better quarterbackial traits. Maturity, constantly working on mechanics, uber focused. By the way, Russell Westbrook, 32. 4th team, 4th year. Steph Curry, 33. Just signed a max contract, and there was an argument to be made he should have been the most valuable player. How you age depends a lot on your traits. Brady has aged gracefully. Breeze aged gracefully. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar aged gracefully. Greg Maddux, never reliant on just sheer talent. He was a professional pitcher, painting the corners. Greg Maddux aged gracefully. Ray Allen's a basketball player. Just kept working on his skills. Like legendarily the best cardio performer in the league, Ray Allen. Like could just run for miles. He kept tweaking and tweaking and tweaking his game, modernizing his game. And so when Westbrook and Cam were in their athletic, hyper-athletic prime, they just blow through their inefficiencies. I mean, there'd be nights with Westbrook, you're like, God, he can't shoot. He finished with 36. How's that possible? Because he was Westbrook. He was the best athlete in the league. There would be games with Cam, you're like, he completed 52% of his throws. How did he win? Because he was Cam. He was 6'6". He'd run over people. He had 142 yards rushing. But as they have aged and dipped athletically, now you just get their inefficiency. That's all you get. They can't just blow through it. That's why LeBron has been so smart about this. LeBron realized after about year 7, year 8, I'm going to get a jumper. I don't want to go to the rim all the time. And LeBron has brilliantly aged. He's just added dimensions to his game. That's why LeBron is aging well as his body is, kind of falling apart now. Like LeBron gets hurt. But he is still a brilliant basketball player because passing never erodes. Ball handling doesn't erode. Leadership doesn't erode. Mechanics don't have to erode. Shooting doesn't have to erode. I mean, Dan Marino could still grab a football and sling it 45 yards. What erodes is your vertical, your speed, your athleticism, your ability to get hurt and be back on the field in a week. And so this story is out because somebody wants it out. And I'm not here to blame anybody, but Cam has had a career not getting out of his own way sometimes. Westbrook, similarly, hyper-athletic, can't get out of his way sometime. And I look at this story with Cam, and it's out there for a reason. They want it out there. And Mac Jones, listen, success in life is often born of opportunities. Mac Jones may have just gotten a terrific opportunity with the best coach, arguably the best offensive coordinator, a top 3 offensive line, a really good running game, and a top 10 defense. Born of opportunities, maybe Mac and Cheese got one. All right, so I watched Jacksonville last night. What was emitting from my television was pretty honestly the worst football team in the league. The worst roster. Jacksonville's awful. And I know Urban Meyer, and I like him, but the offensive line is awful. The defensive line is awful. They don't have a single defensive star. Miles Jack is good, not elite. They've got some wide receiver running back talent that I'm interested in, but this league is not about perimeter stuff. The reason the Cleveland Browns are good this year, their offensive line's great, and they have Myles Garrett. OBJ will not be as important as that offensive line, and you can't name 4 of them. The Jags are trying to mesh their college offense with Urban Meyer and their pro offense, and they didn't build the best offensive staff. Darrell Bevel and Brian Schottenheimer are bounce around the NFL guys that have been fired multiple times. First thing I would do, I would trade Gardner Minshew tomorrow and get a starter on the offensive line, or Trevor Lawrence is going to be in big trouble. Listen, there are 2 types of rebuilds in sports. There's the long rebuild, and then there's the short rebuild. And I'll give you Miami as a short rebuild. Why is Miami a short rebuild? Because they had commodities to sell. Minkah Fitzpatrick. Hey, we're going to move him and get a bunch of picks. Laramie Tunzel, offensive lineman. Hey, Bill O'Brien, I got a deal for you. Move him, get a bunch of picks. Say what you want about Ryan Tannehill. He's a B quarterback, B-plus quarterback. So they had commodities to move, and let's be honest, Brian Flores appears to be unbelievable. He and Greer, the GM, are just doing an unbelievable bang-up job. They've hit on virtually everybody. But they had commodities to move. Jacksonville doesn't. They don't have, they have a commodity. It's called Trevor Lawrence. So this is a long rebuild. You know, I always say you got to give a GM and a coach 2 free agency periods and 2 drafts. I think Urban Meyer needs that to get in that 500, barely above 500 space. That's what I think you're looking at. They don't have anybody they can move to get pieces. So they're going to have to rely on hitting on like 5 draft picks, 10 players over the next 2 years. Hey, as good as Urban Meyer. Now, Pete Carroll did that, college to pros. Remember, Pete came out, he was grabbing guys in the 5th and 6th round that were stars. And I think Urban's got that potential. Jay Tuafeli, 4th round defensive lineman last year. Multiple GMs told me that was as good a pick as you're going to get in the 4th round. So he has the ability to do it. Now, the Jags and Urban have 2 advantages. Number 1, they play Houston twice. There's 2 wins probably. And they do have the easiest schedule, 4th place schedule in the league. And it's a bad division. And their second thing is Trevor Lawrence is really good. He's a really good player. Big, tall arm. You can see it. But Urban in college, remember, had very quick turnarounds. This is going to come down to Urban Meyer. How patient is he? At Utah, he did not take over a dumpster fire. They were 5-6. Next year, 10-2. Utah's won 12 of its last 13 bowl games. Utah's a fine program. Florida was 7-4. They were not a dumpster fire. He turned them into 9-3. Ohio State was 6-7. But it's Ohio State. They've always got 20 NFL guys on the roster. They were 12-0. So these are Utah, Florida. Ohio State's a top 3 program. Florida's a top 10 program. And Utah's a top 20, 25 program. Those were not messes. This is a mess. This is an absolute mess. Worst brand in the league. Worst facilities, arguably, in the league, although they're trying to build those. And the worst roster in the NFL. And I don't think his offensive coaching hires... I mean, listen, he's a college coach, moved into the NFL. Darrell Bevel, Brian Schottenheimer. They bounce around the league a lot. I don't know them personally, but guys have been bouncing around 6 or 7 teams. Urban Meyer after the game knows offensively they're boring and not very good. They'll win a handful of games, I would say about 5 or 6, because they're in a weak division and because they play Houston twice. But this is going to be a slow rebuild. This is going to be a long one. There's Miami had 3 really nice pieces. You can move. And by the way, not only did they move Laramie Tunsil, but, they got a lot for it. So Urban needs to find the weak spots in the NFL, get on the phone, move Gardner Minshew, and get that offensive line better fast. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.